The Velox Dominion ships appeared in Earth's sky without warning. 6 massive vessels, each larger than humanity's tallest skyscrapers, positioned themselves over major cities. Humanity's most powerful weapons couldn't even scratch their hulls. News channels worldwide broadcast the same message: remain calm. First contact protocols are being implemented. But behind closed doors, world leaders panicked. Military forces mobilized, though everyone knew it would be futile if the aliens attacked. At the designated meeting point in Seoul, Commander Jiwon Park waited with a small delegation of diplomats, scientists, and military personnel. She stood straight-backed in her dress uniform, hiding her nervousness behind years of military discipline. "They're landing," whispered Dr. Sungo, the lead xenobiologist, pointing at the approaching shuttle. The alien craft descended silently, settling on the landing pad with precision that made Earth's best technology look primitive by comparison. A door slid open, revealing the first Velox that humans would see in person. Supreme Commander Taeho of the Velox Dominion stood over 8 feet tall. His gray-blue skin glistened under Earth's sun, and 6 limbs moved with unsettling coordination as he approached the human delegation. Behind him, 4 armed guards followed, their weapons clearly visible. "We accept your welcome," Taeho said through a translation device. His voice sounded metallic and cold. "The Velox Dominion claims this solar system as part of our territory. Your cooperation will make this transition smoother." Jiwon bowed slightly. "We are honored to make your acquaintance, Supreme Commander. Earth hopes to establish peaceful relations with your people." "Peace exists within the Dominion," Taeho replied. "All member species serve their purpose. You will find your place." The diplomatic meetings lasted 3 days. With each session, the human delegation grew more concerned. The Velox offered technology and protection, but the price was complete submission to their rule. During a private moment, Dr. Sungo approached Jiwon with alarming news. "Commander, I've analyzed the biological samples they provided," he whispered. "Their DNA repair mechanisms are remarkable. They live for centuries. This explains their attitude: they see us as mayflies." Later that night, Colonel Hyun-jin, head of military intelligence, called an emergency meeting in a secure room swept for listening devices. "We intercepted their communications," she reported, displaying translated text on a screen. "The Velox have conquered thousands of worlds. When resources are depleted, they eliminate the native species. They've done this hundreds of times." Jiwon looked at the gathered faces, the best minds Earth had to offer. "Options? Direct resistance is suicide," General Miho stated bluntly. "Their weapons technology is centuries beyond ours." "What about their technology?" asked Jiwon. "They've shown us their ships, their weapons. Could we learn from them?" Dr. Minji, a quantum physicist, spoke up. "Their technology operates on principles we've only theorized about. But it's not magic. Given time, we could understand it." "Time is what we don't have," said Hyun-jin. "The treaty signing is tomorrow." Jiwon made her decision. "We'll appear to cooperate. Dr. Minji, gather a team. Every scientist who can be trusted. While we negotiate, you study everything they show us. General Miho, prepare contingency plans, but keep them absolutely secret." The next day, in Seoul's Grand Assembly Hall, world leaders gathered to sign the Treaty of Earth's integration into the Velox Dominion. Supreme Commander Taeho stood at the podium, looking down at the humans with something like pity. "Your world will prosper under Dominion guidance," he announced. "Your resources will serve the greater galaxy. This is a great honor for such a young species." Jiwon approached the podium with the signed treaty. As she handed it to Taeho, she activated a small device hidden in her sleeve. Throughout the room, Velox communication devices suddenly went silent. In orbit, their massive ships reported mysterious system failures. Taeho's translator sputtered and died. His expression, though alien, clearly showed shock. "What is happening?" he demanded in his native language, which no human should have understood. "We understand you perfectly, Supreme Commander," Jiwon replied in flawless Velox speech. And we understand what you planned for Earth. Dr. Minji stepped forward. Your communication encryption was impressive, but not unbreakable. Your energy systems have vulnerabilities you never addressed because no one has challenged you for millennia. Teiho's upper limbs twitched in what humans now recognized as anger. This is impossible. You are primitives. We were, said Jaiwan. 3 weeks ago. Humans adapt quickly, Commander. Your treaty is rejected. Earth claims independence in the galaxy. As Teiho and his delegation were escorted back to their shuttle, he sent a final message to his fleet: destroy this insolent world. But the Velox weapons remained silent. Earth had only begun to fight. The Velox reinforcement fleet arrived within days. 50 massive warships, each carrying enough firepower to level a continent, entered Earth's solar system with a single purpose: punishment. Battlemaster Dongo, cousin to Supreme Commander Teiho, led the armada. His orders were simple: make an example of Earth that would echo across the galaxy for centuries. Primitive species must learn their place, Dongo announced in a broadcast forced onto every communication channel on Earth. You have 24 hours to surrender your leaders and disable your defenses. After that, we begin planetary bombardment. In the underground command center beneath Seoul, Commander Jaiwan Park studied tactical displays with her senior staff. The situation looked hopeless by conventional standards. Their ships outnumber ours 50 to 1, General Miho reported. And each one outguns our entire fleet. Jaiwan nodded calmly. Then we don't fight conventionally. Dr. Minji stepped forward with a holographic display. We've fully analyzed the Velox energy systems. They rely on quantum harmonic stabilizers that are vulnerable to specific radiation patterns. Can we disable their ships? Asked Jaiwan. Not permanently, Dr. Minji replied. But we can cause temporary system failures, maybe 15 to 20 minutes at a time. Colonel Hyunjin, who had been quietly working with a team of hackers, joined the conversation. We've also cracked their communication protocols. We can't break their encryption completely, but we can jam their coordination signals. Jaiwan's plan came together quickly. Earth would not attempt to win a direct confrontation. Instead, they would harass, confuse, and exhaust the Velox through countless small engagements. The first battle began when the Velox deadline expired. Battlemaster Dongo ordered his fleet to take up bombardment positions around Earth. But as the massive ships moved into formation, something unexpected happened. Small, fast Earth vessels, retrofitted with reverse-engineered Velox technology, darted from hidden positions in the asteroid belt. They didn't attack directly. Instead, they emitted precisely calibrated radiation bursts that disrupted Velox systems. What is happening? Dongo demanded as control panels flickered across his bridge. Restore power. By the time his ships recovered, the human vessels had vanished, only to strike again elsewhere in the formation. For 3 days, this pattern repeated. The humans never engaged directly, never stayed to fight. They struck, disabled, and disappeared. Sleep-deprived Velox crews became jumpy and made mistakes. On Earth, Dr. Minji made another breakthrough. The Velox neural structure is sensitive to certain sound frequencies, she reported. Not harmful, but intensely uncomfortable, like nails on a chalkboard for humans, but worse. The next human attack included audio transmissions that left Velox crews doubled over in pain, unable to maintain their stations. Battlemaster Dongo was furious. This is not warfare. This is trickery. His science officer, Juno, cautiously suggested, perhaps we should study these humans more carefully before continuing the assault. Their adaptability is concerning. Nonsense, Dongo snapped. They are merely delaying the inevitable. He ordered a direct assault on Earth's largest military base in North America. 20 ships descended through the atmosphere, weapons primed. But when they arrived, the base appeared abandoned. Where are their forces? Dongo demanded. The answer came as hundreds of small, unmanned drones rose from hidden underground hangars. Each drone carried a tiny payload that attached to Velox hulls. Not explosives, they wouldn't have dented the advanced armor, but devices that broadcast the neural disrupting frequencies directly against the ship's hulls. Inside, Velox crews collapsed in agony. 3 ships crashed before they could retreat. Meanwhile, human hackers infiltrated the Velox communication network and broadcast footage of the retreat to all ships in the fleet. The message was clear: the mighty Velox could be hurt. In his flagship, Dongo raged at his officers. How can primitives who barely reached their own moon challenge us? The Dominion has ruled for 10,000 years. That may be the problem, sir, Juno dared to suggest. We haven't faced a real challenge in millennia. Our tactics haven't evolved. These humans, they're innovating daily. On Earth, Commander Jaiwan knew they couldn't keep this up forever. The Velox still held overwhelming superiority. But with each small victory, Earth gained more time for Dr. Minji and her team to unlock more Velox secrets, time for human factories to produce more adapted weapons. We don't need to win, Jaiwan told her exhausted staff during a rare quiet moment. We just need to make victory cost more than they're willing to pay. As if an answer to her strategy, reports arrived of Velox ships withdrawing from Earth orbit. Not retreating entirely, but pulling back to regroup. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Velox Dominion needed a new battle plan. 6 months into the conflict, the Velox Dominion Council held an emergency meeting. For the first time in thousands of years, they faced a species that refused to be conquered. These humans are irrational, Battle Master Dongo reported, his voice tight with frustration. They should have surrendered months ago. Our technology is superior. Our numbers are greater. Yet they continue to resist. Science Director Juno nervously approached the council table. Once a minor advisor, his expertise on human behavior had become suddenly valuable. The humans have a different evolutionary path than ours, he explained. While we evolved toward stability and perfection, they evolved to constantly adapt. Their history is filled with smaller groups defeating larger forces through innovation and unconventional tactics. Supreme Commander Tejo dismissed this with a wave of his upper limbs. They cannot win. It is mathematically impossible. They don't need to win conventionally, Juno countered. They only need to make victory too costly for us. Meanwhile on Earth, Admiral Sujin, who had replaced Commander Jaiwan after her ship was lost in battle, implemented the next phase of humanity's resistance. The Velox have conquered thousands of worlds, she told the United Earth Defense Council. On each of those worlds, there must be species who hate their Velox masters as much as we do. Captain Jaehyun stood before the council, ready to present his mission plan. My team can infiltrate Velox space using the stealth technology Dr. Minji developed. We'll make contact with other subjugated species and form an alliance. The mission was approved despite its extreme danger. 5 small ships, each carrying elite teams of diplomats, scientists, and soldiers, slipped past the Velox blockade and disappeared into the depths of space. 3 months passed. The Velox continued their attacks on Earth, but with decreasing effectiveness. Human scientists had created countermeasures for most Velox weapons. Earth's factories worked day and night, incorporating stolen Velox technology into new defense systems. Dr. Minji made perhaps the most important discovery yet. The Velox don't innovate because they don't need to, she explained to Admiral Sujin. They've been dominant for so long that their technology has reached a plateau. They don't expect threats, so they don't prepare for them. This insight changed Earth's strategy. Rather than trying to match Velox technology exactly, human engineers began developing hybrid systems that the Velox had never encountered and therefore had no defenses against. The first major victory came when Earth forces ambushed a Velox supply fleet using weapons that combined human missile technology with Velox energy fields. The Velox shields, calibrated to stop energy weapons or physical projectiles, couldn't handle weapons that were both simultaneously. On the Velox homeworld, the news of the defeat sparked unprecedented debate in the Dominion Council. We have underestimated these humans, Counselor Youngmi argued. She had studied the battle reports extensively. Their learning curve is unlike anything we've encountered in our history. In a secure chamber, Science Director Juno presented his findings to a shocked council. In 1 year, the humans have advanced their technology by approximately 200 years. If this trend continues, they will match our capabilities within a decade. Supreme Commander Tejo refused to accept this reality. Impossible. No species can advance that quickly. But the evidence was irrefutable. Human adaptation was accelerating with each encounter. What began as reverse engineering had evolved into true innovation. The situation changed dramatically when Captain Jaehyun's team returned from their mission. They had not only survived but succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. With them came representatives from 12 other species, all former victims of Velok's conquest. The Veloks keep their subject worlds isolated from each other, Captain Jaehyun reported. No one is allowed to develop space travel or communicate with other worlds. But once we showed these species that the Veloks could be fought, they eagerly joined our cause. Each species brought unique knowledge and abilities. The Lorendi could manipulate gravitational fields. The Thosian hive mind could process data faster than any computer. The Nask had evolved to survive in radiation that would kill humans instantly. Together with Earth's scientists, they began sharing knowledge that the Veloks had suppressed for millennia. Admiral Sujin addressed the new alliance with simple words that would later become famous throughout the galaxy: the Veloks rule through division and fear. We will win through unity and hope. Within weeks, the alliance launched coordinated attacks on Veloks outposts across 20 star systems. The Veloks, who had always fought enemies one world at a time, found themselves facing resistance everywhere simultaneously. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Veloks' dominion was on the defensive. Their rigid command structure and unchanging tactics, once strengths in a stable empire, became fatal weaknesses against an enemy that evolved daily. The greatest human advantage wasn't technology or even numbers. It was change itself. The Veloks' dominion faced unprecedented crisis as rebellion spread across their once secure empire. Reports flooded the central command on their homeworld, shipyards sabotaged, supply lines disrupted, entire planets declaring independence. The pattern was always the same: human ships would arrive, share weapons and tactics with the local species, then move on to the next world. Supreme Commander Tejo paced the council chamber, his usually perfect posture now rigid with fury. "This cannot continue," he roared. 3,000 years of perfect order, destroyed in under 2 Earth years. Counselor Youngmi, leader of the growing reformist faction, spoke carefully. "Perhaps we should consider negotiation. These humans have proven." "Negotiation?" Tejo interrupted. "With primitives? With vermin? The only language they will understand is complete destruction." He activated a holographic display showing a massive weapon unlike anything the council had seen before. "The Nova Catalyst. Our scientists developed it centuries ago, but the council deemed it too dangerous to use." Science Director Juno gasped. "Commander, the Nova Catalyst can trigger a supernova. It would destroy entire star systems." "Precisely," Tejo replied coldly. "We will deploy it first against Earth's sun. When their homeworld burns, the human resistance will collapse." In a private meeting after the council session, Juno secretly transmitted this information to Counselor Youngmi. "He's gone mad with pride," the scientist whispered. "He would sacrifice even Velok's colony worlds to maintain dominance." "I need time to gather support among the military," Youngmi replied. "Can you delay the weapon deployment?" "Perhaps," Juno said. "But we need outside help." That help was already coming. The human-led alliance had expanded its intelligence network throughout Velok space. Captain Jaehyun, whose original mission had sparked the Galactic Rebellion, intercepted Juno's transmission. Within hours, Admiral Sujin called an emergency meeting of the Alliance leadership. "The Veloks plan to destroy our solar system with a superweapon," she announced to the assembled representatives from 28 species. "We must locate and neutralize this threat immediately." The Thosian hivemind representatives processed the stolen Velox data at incredible speed. "The Nova Catalyst is being prepared at a research station in the Altair system," they reported. "It will be operational in 7 days. Then we have 6 days to stop it," Admiral Sujin declared. The Alliance assembled its largest battle group yet, 200 ships from a dozen worlds. The Lorendi contributed their gravity-manipulating technology, creating shortcuts through space that allowed the fleet to reach Altair in just 4 days. The Nova Catalyst facility orbited a dead star, drawing power from its radiation. It was heavily defended by automated weapons platforms and a ring of battleships. Direct assault would be suicide, Admiral Sujin told her commanders during the final briefing. Instead, we'll use the combined strengths of our alliance. The plan utilized each species' unique abilities. Nask infiltrators, immune to the dead star's radiation, secretly boarded the outer defense platforms. Thosian mines hacked into Velox communication systems, feeding false information to the defending fleet. Lorendi gravity shapers created a distortion field that hid the main human attack force until they were within striking distance. The battle began with precision and coordination that the Velox, with their rigid tactics, couldn't match. While the Velox commanders were still trying to understand what was happening, human ships broke through their lines and approached the station. Inside the station, Commander Tejo personally supervised the Nova Catalyst's activation. Warning alarms blared as human forces breached the outer defenses. "Accelerate the activation sequence," he ordered. "If we fall, we take them with us." On the bridge of the Alliance flagship, Admiral Sujin received a surprising transmission from Counselor Youngmi. "A reformist faction within the Velox military is staging a coup," Youngmi explained. "But we cannot stop the Nova Catalyst from our position. You must disable it on sight." Admiral Sujin turned to Dr. Minji, who had insisted on joining this critical mission. "Can you shut it down?" "Yes," Minji replied with quiet confidence. "But I'll need to reach the main control room." Captain Jaehyun volunteered immediately. "My team will get her there." The final assault on the station became a race against time. While Alliance forces engaged the Velox defenders, Jaehyun's team escorted Dr. Minji through the station's labyrinthine corridors. They fought their way through increasingly desperate resistance. In the control center, Commander Tejo watched as the activation countdown reached its final minutes. Victory or defeat no longer mattered to him, only proving Velox's superiority through one final, devastating blow. The doors to the control room exploded inward. Captain Jaehyun's team stormed in, quickly neutralizing the Velox technicians. Dr. Minji rushed to the main console as Jaehyun confronted Commander Tejo directly. "It's over," Jaehyun said, weapon raised. "Order your forces to stand down." "You think you've won?" Tejo laughed bitterly. "The catalyst is already activating. In 2 minutes, this entire system becomes a supernova. You've achieved nothing." Dr. Minji worked frantically at the controls. "The normal shutdown sequence is locked," she called out. "I need to find another way." Outside the station, the battle took an unexpected turn as Velox ships began powering down their weapons. Counselor Youngmi's coup was succeeding. But none of it would matter if the Nova Catalyst activated. With seconds remaining, Dr. Minji looked up from the console with a smile. "The Velox always build backdoors into their weapons," she said. "Just in case." The countdown stopped with just 7 seconds left. As the Nova Catalyst powered down, its threatening hum fading to silence, news of the Velox coup spread across the galaxy. On the Velox homeworld, Counselor Youngmi addressed her people for the first time as their new leader. "For 10,000 years, we have ruled through fear," she said, her voice broadcasting to every Velox settlement across the stars. "Today, we choose a different path." Supreme Commander Tejo and his loyal officers were placed under arrest. The massive Velox war fleet, still formidable despite recent losses, stood down across the galaxy. 3 weeks later, representatives from 37 species gathered in the Grand Assembly Hall on Earth. Once bitter enemies, Velox diplomats now sat alongside humans and other former subject races. The atmosphere was tense but hopeful. Admiral Sujin took the podium, her uniform still bearing the scorch marks from the battle at the Nova Catalyst station. "We stand at a crossroads," she began. "For millennia, this galaxy has known only conquest and submission. The strong ruled the weak. Today, we propose something different. Many expected humans to demand leadership of the galaxy. After all, they had led the resistance that toppled the mighty Velox Dominion. They had proven themselves perhaps the most adaptable and innovative species in known space. Instead, Admiral Sujin surprised everyone. Earth does not seek to replace the Velox as rulers, she declared. Dominance is not our goal. We propose instead the Galactic Concord and Alliance where all species have equal voice and equal protection. The proposal sparked intense debate. Some species, harboring deep grudges against the Velox, demanded reparations or even punishment. Others feared that without a strong central authority, the galaxy would descend into chaos. Dr. Minji presented research showing how diversity led to greater innovation and stability. The Velox Empire stagnated because it suppressed difference, she explained. A true alliance that values all perspectives will be stronger than any empire could be. After 7 days of negotiation, the Galactic Concord Charter was signed. It established a governing council with rotating leadership, mutual defense pacts, and free exchange of knowledge and resources. No species would rule over another. Earth was chosen as headquarters for the new alliance. Not because humans demanded it, but because Earth represented a neutral ground for species that had been enemies for thousands of years. Captain Jae-hyun, now promoted to diplomatic service, worked closely with Counselor Youngmi to integrate the Velox into the new order. The transition wasn't easy. Many Velox still believed in their inherent superiority, while many former subject races remained distrustful. Change takes time, Jae-hyun reminded Youngmi during a particularly difficult negotiation. My own species has spent most of its history fighting itself. Learning to work together doesn't happen overnight. Youngmi nodded thoughtfully. For the Velox, this is particularly difficult. We have never known anything but hierarchy. To see others as equals requires us to rethink our entire history. Over the next decades, the Galactic Concord faced many challenges. Border disputes, cultural misunderstandings, and the occasional attempted power grab all threatened the fragile peace. But each crisis was resolved through negotiation rather than force. The greatest testament to the new order came 30 years after its founding. A previously unknown species made contact with the edge of Concord space. Their technology was primitive compared to most Concord worlds, but they possessed unique biological adaptations that allowed them to survive in environments toxic to other life forms. In the old days, the Velox would have simply conquered them and exploited their abilities. Instead, Admiral Sujin, now in her 70s but still respected throughout the galaxy, personally led the first contact mission. On the same day, in a classroom on the former Velox homeworld, teacher Minsu taught a mixed class of young Velox, humans, and a dozen other species. History is written by those who survive, he told his students. For 10,000 years, the Velox believed they were the galaxy's rightful rulers because no one successfully challenged them. But strength doesn't come from conquest, it comes from adaptation, cooperation, and understanding. These were the weapons that humanity brought to the stars. A young Velox student raised her hand. Teacher, if humans are so adaptable, why didn't they take control when they defeated us? They could have ruled the galaxy. Minsu smiled. That's the most important lesson of all. True strength isn't about controlling others, it's about creating systems where everyone can thrive. The humans understood what the Velox had forgotten, that diversity makes us all stronger. Outside the classroom window, the spires of the Concord Education Center gleamed in the sunlight. On a nearby landing pad, Admiral Sujin greeted the ambassadors from the newly discovered species. Her hand extended not in conquest, but in welcome. The galaxy had finally learned that peace wasn't the absence of conflict, it was the presence of justice, cooperation, and mutual respect. The Velox Dominion was now just another chapter in galactic history. The future belonged to those who could adapt, cooperate, and grow together.